one of the things that you, as you were speaking, that sort of came into mind was, well, what about folks who don't tell the whole picture? And as a photojournal, you know, as an editor, I know you know how to, you know, you can manipulate just about any photo to is it fair? Is it accurate? I mean, should there be, because context is really important. And so if you, let's say, just take a picture of something, but then you crop out a piece of the meaning, and you're left with something that then conveys maybe even the opposite out of context. I mean, that seems a bit, you know, that fine line towards, are you being honest and are you speaking the truth, or are you just manipulating this piece? I mean,
yeah, as photojournalists, we have a sense of ethics, right? We have ethics within. It's not as intensive of like oath, like doctors or things like that, or lawyers, but there's a code of.
Should be.
Maybe there should be, but you know, there are ethics, and especially for newspapers, and then of course the professional organizations that you're a part of, right? Certain things, and so conveying the truth and not changing. I think that's a difference between photojournalism and then like art photography, right? Where you are setting something up for the concept that you have, right? And manipulating and changing, versus journalism. You wouldn't even move a leaf, you know, like that would be the difference between it.
Does it still go back to freedom of speech, though? If you do crop that image, it gives a different context?
But it's also a perspective, right? The photographer was there and they chose that angle, you know, and so then it becomes a sort of collaboration between the editors and the writers. Of does it represent exactly what was going on, right? And so there's some, I think, a little bit of checks and balances in that way. It's not editorial, because then you got to put it in editorial, right? If you really, but in the sense of like cropping something is sort of a false interpretation, I would say. Wasn't that social media? Don't we talk about that as Instagram, right? That like you see the picture of like, you know, the home, and the mom is like at the kitchen with the kid, and then but the rest of the house is a mess, right? And so you see like some people show the bigger picture, and then like, oh, this is how I crop
the
for
perfect versus the reality.
Right. This is what this is what I wanted you to see, right? And so I think it's the intention and what it is you're trying to do, right? But some people, the interpretation, everyone has stuff out there now, right? So what are the intentions? And now I guess we have to pay attention of, is it believable? Do we want to go there in our thoughts? And are we playing along by adding them to your social media and allowing that in, right? And you get the choice of, you know, if you're not interested in an artwork or part of an exhibition in a museum, then you don't partake.